Alright, so here I'm going to show you how to create a new project on Xcode, and we'll also talk about some parts of Xcode and the interface overall, the overall interface of Xcode. So to create a new project, you go to here where it says create a new Xcode project. Pretty obvious. Now there's several kinds of projects that you can create, many kinds of projects. We're going to create an iOS application, which is going to be a single view application. We're going to hit next. We give this application a name, so TTCC, whatever name you want to give it. Of course, hopefully something that makes sense. And you click next. Then it's going to ask you where do you want to save this and whether you want to create a Git repository on it. If you don't know what a Git repository is, you should find out. It's source control. It'll make the development of your project, mostly in teams, a lot easier. But then we're here in Xcode. This is the interface of Xcode. We have here on the right, okay, we have the project Navigator. Here you can find all your files for the project Navigator, and you can navigate through interruptions, exceptions, and stuff like that. You can also search, navigate through errors or issues, and so on and so forth. There are several project navigators, but this is the main project navigator that shows you the files. Anything with the .swift is a Swift file. Here you see the setup of your project in the middle, right? Now, when you click on the storyboard, we'll call this main area, okay? The main area. Now, when you click on the storyboard, something happens. This main area is divided in two. First, you have your interface builder. This is the iPhone or iPad or whatever, right? This is schematics of an iPad or an iPhone. You will notice if I scroll a little bit, there's going to be an arrow. This indicates that this is going to be the first screen of my application. Basically, the arrow says here's where the application starts. And we're going to see later on how to build applications that span multiple screens, and you'll see arrows from one screen to the other. Okay? And this is the interface builder. Next to the interface builder is the document outline. Here you will see a lot of things here that are views that I have in the view controller for the visual components here. And this is sort of like a tree representation of what's going on here. So for example, if I put a label here, okay, if I put a label in the middle of this view controller, I'm just going to add something there for the sake of adding something there. You'll see that I get, you know, this label right here under the view. So this is sort of like a tree view of what's going on here, okay? Now, at the bottom of the interface builder, you'll see this width any and height any. These are so that all the layout that I lay out here will work on any screen size, and it'll look okay in any screen size. This is related to something called auto layout. You can find more about it. Now here you will see the view controller, the first responder, and the exit icons. Okay, these basically move you through properties and components that are important for your application. We're not going to touch these very much during the tutorials, but just so you know very quickly, the first responder has to do, you can also select it from here, the first responder has to do with who traps when you tap or who traps events, right? And the exit is what happens when you exit the window or the screen or the application. And here you have a lot of what's called inspectors. So for example, I'm going to go to my view. They're inspectors, right? This is the attributes inspector, which has all the attributes of whatever component I have selected. So if I select the label from here or here, right, I have a bunch of things here, the color, the kind of text, shadows, and so on and so forth. Here I have the size inspector, in which I can make this bigger or position it in several places and so on and so forth. Here's the identity inspector, which we will use later. it has to do with which class is going to control whatever component, whatever view I have. And this is basically the interface for Xcode. If you want to run this application, let's change the property of the label, right? We're going to go to the attribute inspector, right? And let me see here. We're going to change the text. Okay, instead of saying label, we're going to say hello. All right. You click play, and actually the application will be built, files will be compiled, and it will be run on the iOS simulator.